Ada from Poison Rock. Today it's my pleasure to have with us Dave from Flaming Wrekage. How are you, first of all?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Ada. Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure. I'm sorry, it's really late right now, and in Australia, I guess. What time it is? 10 p.m. I guess it should be, right?
Oh, it's not too late. It's 11 o'clock.
It's
I
11
was, I
o'clock.
was just having a
So we
yeah.
have
I just, I
officially
just
10 hours of difference, and you are
yeah,
almost in the next day. Oh my God, we are in the
yeah,
time capsule at the moment, time travel.
yeah,
Of course, Dave. Before starting to speak about Flaming Breakage and the single you released, and let's say a little bit about the last full line that was released, Cathedral of Bones. I want to ask about your own personal journey because it's interesting as well because we understand as well the journey of Flaming Breakage as well. So like how you
yeah.
started like that, like you wake up one day and said, "Oh, that's I want to start playing music. I want to start singing that in that way." So I mean, how do you start decide, and which was the main?
Yeah. For me, both my parents are pretty into like Aussie rock, just like rock
Okay.
and roll in Australia. That
Mhm.
was kind of the first sort of stuff that got me into getting interested in into music really. And so I remember like really when I was like a real young kid, I wanted to be a drummer because there was this band from Australia called Midnight Oil. I don't know if you've
But
heard of them, but they're a very famous band. And I used to like get all our dining room chairs and kind of put them in a
yeah,
little semicircle and just beat the shit out of them with sticks and stuff. So like that was my initial like
you
that
need
was my first foray into sort of
yeah.
like listening to music, and then from there that kind of merged into more metal stuff. I remember the first time I heard the Black Album by Metallica, that was like a massive gateway for me. And then I just became obsessed with Metallica.
Metal, yeah,
And yeah, so that album like still like I know it's like it's a big divergence in like a lot of
yeah,
Metallica fans, like but like that's when they simplified everything. Everything just
yeah.
sounded huge, and like to my 14-year-old ears, I just thought it was the
It
greatest
was
thing. And I still,
yeah.
yeah.
They are
So yeah, and then
still kind of the pillars of the thrash metal scene all over the world, no matter how years went
yeah,
by. Yeah,
yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, and then from there, I kind of merged into heavier stuff and started getting
yeah.
into death metal and different kinds of metal and stuff like that. And then yeah, like I started playing guitar when I was about 14, and
Yeah.
yeah, just trying to learn every Metallica riff that I could. And yeah, and like playing guitar for me was like a great escape from you know like things you didn't want to do, school or whatever. Like you could
Yeah,
just sit in
like
your room and
kind of
just like
escape.
do
Yeah.
your own thing. And like yeah, and like I'm basically self-taught as well, so it's just like that whole journey of like figuring things out on your own and like
Yeah.
taking in all the different influences. Um, yeah, I just found that whole thing really fascinating. And yeah, that's a great thing about music and guitar. Like you're always learning, you're always taking things in. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that'll never end. You're always learning stuff. So
Yeah, and then let's say and growing up, like you mentioned, like and this music and that metal, that was like really like, for example, a guitarist that let's say could have as well had an influence in your way of playing and composing, for example, because sometimes we are as well unaware that maybe that music there are people that are like I want to no like that's my idol, and maybe there are people that
yeah,
unconsciously they are influenced by that musician, that singer, because that's maybe that I don't know music they listen mainly, or that technique
yeah,
like, sticks in their mind.
yeah. I mean, like I think James Hetfield was my idol, and I think will be forever. But like as I started into different bands and stuff, I kind of became more interested in like um, different songwriting rather than like
Okay.
virtuoso.
No, okay, of course, yeah, sure. I mean,
Um, and
it's better.
and yeah, I think like the influence of people's songwriting decisions is like almost become more important to me than like how many notes you can play or how fast you can play, stuff like that.
Exactly.
So and and the more you play and write music, those sorts of influences become like, and that's something about our band that is like kind of made us a little bit unique in a way, I
Yeah.
think, is because we all listen to vastly different music. We all listen to metal, But like
Yeah.
if you were ever in the back of our tour van, you'd probably be pretty confused after a few hours because like it's just heaps of different stuff going on. And like when it all comes together, there's like all these different songwriting choices and all
Yeah.
these different ways of playing and approaching the instrument that makes Flaming Wrekage what it is. And I'm really happy, like really proud of that actually, because it's like it's not like four guys coming from the same thrash metal background or whatever,
No,
all these
exactly.
different things.
Yeah, that's something really. I don't hear you anymore. Can you hear me? Okay, sorry. I couldn't. I was unable to hear you. Okay, yeah, but that's something really interesting because as well, like in Australia, there is this time I don't remember the name, and I think they will kill me. There is an amazing thrash metal band. I think they are kind of old school vibe, and they're freaking amazing. And they're gonna tour again because they were big before. They maybe stayed far from the scene for a little bit, and now they come back. I did an interview with
Right.
them, and they're fucking amazing. They are amazing because
Yeah.
sometimes we forget that in every part of the world there are amazing bands, there are amazing scene, and I mean Australia is an amazing place.
Yeah.
I mean I always say that
Yeah. We are.
yeah, you're lucky to live
Yeah.
there. People all the time say,
Yeah.
I don't like Australia. I mean, friends that I have in Australia, I don't like there. For example, Tasmania, I don't like Tasmania. Wants to move. Oh my, it's beautiful. It's always like
Yeah.
the your neighborhood, let's say, place is better than your own house sometimes. That's how we think all the time.
Yeah.
But let's
Yeah.
getting back to like the beginning of the really how like Flaming Wrekage started because let's say that right now it's like you started around 2009 2010 when you released like Disaster Zone, the first EP. So
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we want as well to introduce the other guys in the band because it seems like as well to polite. So we involved with you in as well in Flaming Wrekage because of course we are talking as well like this is the first time joining Poison Rock.
Yeah. Yeah. So at the moment, it's myself. And we've got Matt Thornton on drums. We've got Juz Humphrey on lead guitar, and we've got Locke Campbell on bass. And we've had that same lineup for quite a while now, probably like seven. Yeah, I think 8 years we've had that lineup together, and that's like super solid. Like
That's
that
Flaming Wrekage.
guys. Yeah, that's it. Like we've been through a lot of lineup changes before that on like previous releases and stuff. That's pretty funny that you just mentioned the first EP because I don't think many people know that one, and I was kind of hoping to keep it that way because that
You
thing
have
is
to do
like
your own
pretty.
research. You have to do your own research.
Yeah,
If you want to know the roots of a band, it's something that I learned with the times, with the years. If you want to know
yeah,
especially being in an underground scene, all the being yourself, you're yourself a musician and myself a musician, and you're especially in the underground scene. The first things you do, what is release a full length, is a release an EP, release a demo, release something. So that's the raw, that's the beginning, that's the soul at the moment. So that's when you started, and that's when everything. That's what you put out at the beginning. So how the world perceive you. So it's like how this is my first picture. Like this is me when I was 1 years old, and the last album is like, hey, that's me, I don't know, 30 years old, because you're growing.
yeah,
It's like not a
yeah,
piece of album. And that's what about as well, like when I ask about Disaster Zone and the different with the first full length Catharsis is because it's important always to in my opinion focalize as well to these two differences, because that's one is at the EP and it's at the beginning. The full length is another type of process. So
yeah.
how we can describe this kind of differences? There was something in the sound, in the production of it, or
I mean, it's yeah, like night and day, really. Like the first, like you wouldn't even be able to find that now. I don't think I even have a copy of that. It's like that, like because we started this band when I was in high school still. Like our first gig, I think, yeah, 2010. So yeah, like I'd say like the first like 4 years of just you just don't know what you're doing. Like you're just figuring it out as you go. You just throwing
Yeah,
shit at the wall and seeing what happens, kind of
yeah,
thing. I just remember like going into the studio to make
yeah.
Catharsis, the first album, um, and just thinking that it was like such a massive deal, like just to be able to make a full length record. And like, there's still some really cool moments on that album that I'm super proud of still. We don't really play many of those songs live anymore, but like, it's, it's like any band, like there's a progression the more songs you write.
Yeah.
But like this, some bands just get extremely. I wouldn't. I mean, there's a certain element of luck involved, but some bands just have these iconic first albums, and then it's just like it opens up the
Yeah.
world. But like this band has always been a very slow build, but I kind of like that because you're taking things in as time goes along,
Exactly,
and you
exactly.
can hear it from that first album to where we're at now. It's like the difference is
Even
huge.
from flesh to dust, there was like kind of
Yeah,
crescendo of let's say of don't want to say improvement because that sounds bad, but like progression of just simply growing up. It's the easiest word.
yeah,
Growing up in the sound. But what do you think that as well could be like? Because of course you have as well like you were saying, Cathedral of Bones, and because of course now you're releasing some singles, so like Witch Hunt. And so I
yeah.
think it is a kind of way of saying that you're kind of working on some new material at the moment, that maybe pronounce some, I mean, fan can expect something new in the future.
Yeah, so we've got the new single that just came out, which is had an awesome response. But yeah, that's the first stage of a release that we have coming pretty soon. There'll be details about that one coming out very soon. So it's really exciting. We've got a really exciting year this year, which is awesome. But yeah, like back to what you were just saying, it's like
Yeah.
the last album, Cathedral of Bones, and this new material that we have. It's like that's the first like record that we did with this lineup where everyone was directly involved in the
Okay.
songwriting.
Okay.
It wasn't like on previous things, it was kind of just me and then Juzzy. So it was pretty 50-50 there. And then
Yeah.
there wasn't much like properly like getting four guys in a room and working it out. Like we did like on the last stuff we've done and on Cathedral, there's so much pre-production, which has become such an important part of the way we make
So
albums now.
so
Because
that's as well this pre-production. Let's say we can say this is kind of an adds a plus and a plus respect to the other, let's say, way of producing and composing an album, for example. This is something that's changed.
yeah, it's just the songwriting process and
Yeah.
like making demos and reworking things and playing the same thing a million
Yeah.
times. But we've also used the same producer slash engineer for the last three albums, and he's like almost become like another member of the band almost. Like, but this is the third
Yeah.
release that we've done with him, and like it's like being in a band for a an extended period. You get more comfortable with each other. You kind of
Of course.
start to know like
Definitely.
your song, yeah, and like that's made a massive difference as well. And like and it also helps when like the person that you're recording with like likes what you're doing because
Mhm.
there's got vested interest in making it as good as possible. So
It's I think even easier when you, for example, bring a riff or an idea
yeah,
or a lyrics, just a written lyrics, which is like said from the other guys in the band say, oh, I like that. Yeah, it's good. I'm gonna add my drums. Let's play it. Instead of saying,
yeah,
wait, maybe we can choose that, we can change that, we can add something more, we can take something off. Maybe it's even easier because of course it's when you say, oh, I had a good idea. That's something that is
yeah,
important, and that's when as well you find kind of people with your own similar background. Because I don't know, you can listen
yeah,
like metal, another one can listen pop. What the fuck is gonna go out?
yeah,
Yeah, something weird completely. Maybe interesting, but weird. And of course,
totally. And like
yeah,
yeah, like when all those influences are flying around when you're in that
yeah,
stage of making, it can get like
yeah.
people fight for ideas, but there's no wrong ideas. Like I think you should
No,
try everything
Yeah.
at least once, because you might get like, like I'll write a song or half a song, and I've got an idea in my head of how I've heard it. But by the time I bring it to Matt and he's put drums on it, like the way that he plays that part might inspire us to write a completely different
Exactly.
section. Like, it's like
Yeah.
I really like the process of how it evolves and becomes the final thing. Like hearing the demo to like the final
Product.
master is
Yeah.
pretty cool, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, because because of course, like this is like, imagine like today how you're working with music compared to when you were in disaster zone. It changes a lot. I think a whole world.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Yeah,
completely different. Like
yeah,
it's like not knowing what you're doing
yeah,
versus now. So
yeah.
yeah.
And let's say that it's gonna be always kind of a crescendo because, of course, like now with the release with the Witch Hunt and with following releases that you will have in all your career, of course, it's gonna be always changing, of growing, experiencing, touring, meeting new people. That I don't know, new music fans. This is all as well influences that you put in your stuff that ended up to be in your music in a kind of way. But and that's what I wanted to ask as
Yeah.
well. That mainly because I don't want to focus on, I don't know, in catharsis or from flesh to dust or in the last album and ask you which is the topic of each one. I want to ask in general which kind of topic Flaming Wrekage of stories like to tell or you cover.
Yeah. Um, it kind of depends. Like I write all the lyrics.
Okay, okay,
And
so you can answer better than anyone else. So
I'm your guy.
that's fine.
But yeah, like, and that is one thing that there's not really any kind of collaboration. Like
Okay,
I'll pretty much do that because I think like it is
right.
quite a personal thing for me, and especially like with a lot of the subject matter that we do, like I can be a bit of a perfectionist, which is like to my detriment a lot of the time, but I do rewrite things a lot. And whether like on like on like Witch Hunt and like some of the newer stuff you'll hear this year, it's like it's pretty dark. Like there's a lot of
Okay.
it hasn't come from the happiest place. I'm not gonna lie, but I do try to, and I just find it hard to explain though a lot of the time, and it's because like I like to keep my lyrics fairly vague intentionally because
Okay.
like it might mean one thing to me, but you can hear it and you can
Yeah,
take something else from it.
that's true. That's
And
true.
I kind of like there's times where you'll go, oh yeah, that's like
Yeah.
quite obviously about a really dark time, really depressed, really angry, get, and that's one of the gifts of heavy metal is like if you're not feeling great in your
True.
head, you
Yeah,
can just go and a brutal riff and
exactly,
sing about.
exactly. That's the beauty of that's a kind of way like I think every music, every genre of music, all the music itself, it's a kind of a healing tool. But if we
Yeah.
should be more like we can say precise, I think that like heavy metal, let's say metal in general, has this way of let you put your dark shadows, your darkness, your anger. So let's say all the darkest feelings into paper,
Yeah.
into music. But even for the listener, when they listen to music, put it in your ears and in your mind and listen and thinking. That's a way of healing as well, but that's a way of hearing that you're not alone while you're listening to music because
Yeah.
means that all we because everyone has that moment. I mean, we are human, we are not robots yet. So that means that we are human, and that's important. And yeah, and especially, I mean, because of course, in witch hunt, for example, I could say, what is that about the witch hunting of, I mean, like Inquisition, like the hunting of the witches. What is about witch hunt? And because it means that,
Uh,
or that's different meaning, like for example, in your point of view.
that one's more about like it's kind of losing your identity and feeling like everyone's closing in on you, trying to take something from you, um, and just like loosening your grip on reality and um, yeah. But that one's very like a very personal one. I kind of can't
Okay, no,
explain exactly.
no, but let's say,
Uh,
in general, like the meaning, the main topics that, like you were saying, losing kind of the identity, and yeah,
yeah, it's just about losing yourself in a
yeah,
yeah, and you're the witch in that scenario, and
yeah.
everyone's
It's on,
piling on and
yeah,
hunting kind of thing. But
yeah,
yeah, like you were saying, I feel like writing about things like that, if it's a personal experience or if it's happened to
yeah,
someone that you know really well or anything like that, it can be hard, but it's also a really therapeutic thing to do.
yeah.
Like when you can look back on what you've written and go, yeah, that bit of like those lyrics there, that's what I needed to do to get through that time. And I feel like on the stuff that we've got sort of coming out this year, it is a little bit darker than I've gone down previously. I had a bit going on, but like on other albums, I've just
Yeah.
like I've done stuff like that before. But then there's also been times where I've just written a metal song about something like more within the fantasy kind of like example. There's a song, the last song, Cathedral of Bones, is called Sin Survives, and I got
Yeah.
inspired to write that song when I was driving through Death Valley in California with my girlfriend. And I don't know if you've ever been there before, but it's like the most barren place ever. It's
It's just,
insane. Like it's so it's like this, yeah, just barren wasteland of a desert. And I just had this, and like there's actually quite a few stories about tourists kind of taking the wrong turn and like never being found and stuff.
okay.
So I just, which is like super fucked up. But
It,
like I just had this idea, like
yeah,
what if there was like
that's
like
cool.
cult of like bone collectors in the desert. I was like, that's pretty metal. And I like go back
Something
to the
like,
hotel,
yeah,
down. So
something
yeah,
like
sometimes
that.
like
But that's cool. That's cool as idea. I like
yeah,
that the things about you said, because I never heard someone saying about having this kind of idea about, for example, putting into song. Probably someone did it, but it kind of reminds me, like the old dusty vibes, all these kind of legends let's say in the desert of for example, Appalachian Mountains. Let's say it. All of
yeah,
these True Detective first season vibes. Let's say something like that.
oh, that's the best one.
Yeah,
Yeah, but like and like traveling around definitely
yeah,
inspires you to do things like that. I think like just if you've always got if you've got a mind for writing, like just taking in your surroundings, like is super helpful to me. Like I do like journaling a lot as well, but like I've definitely taken a lot of things from that and used it in songs. Like if you're on tour or on a holiday or anything and you're going to see new places, there's always like something super inspiring that I'm able to find from just like
yeah.
new places like that. But it's not always as brutal, but like that was just a a good
And that
example.
was just but that's cool, and that's as well. I think, not. I think it's just something that I think can different shape, different put the difference from make the difference from Flaming Wrekage, from example, from another let's say trash band, metal band. I don't like labels, because I think because I was speaking,
Yeah,
I don't know, with other musicians for the interview that I did before. This band, they did, like they do folk metal, black metal, death metal, avant-garde metal. I think it's something expression of who you are. It's an expression of your soul.
yeah.
Could be trash, but
I can't.
yeah,
It's too many.
yeah. Just labeling is something that maybe belonged when the bigger bands started, like Metallica, like Possessed,
Yeah,
Morbid Angel. That's it. But nowadays, with all this music and this melting pot of genre, let's say that, yeah, let's say, how would you do? Let's choose an adjective to describe Flaming Wreckage.
yeah. Like I always struggle when people ask me like what genre of metal we are
No, but
because it's like I
I
said,
hear it's not like about like genre. It's like really an adjective,
yeah,
like a word to describe not the sound, even like the vibe of all of you guys. Family Wreckage. Yeah.
yeah. I would say it's just honest.
Okay.
Like
That's beautiful.
the music is just the honest representation of like where what we are as
That's
people and where we're at, and
yeah, and
yeah,
that's
like
yeah, that's the best
like
thing.
yeah, like with metal especially, it's like metal is like such a unique thing because you can bring it's so many different
Yeah,
influences, whether it be musical or literature or whatever,
yeah,
to the
exactly.
table,
Yeah, exactly.
and like it can be heavy,
Yeah,
and it doesn't have. I don't mean heavy as in like loud, brutal guitars and stuff. Like heavy is like old blues songs can be heavy, and like
yeah,
metal has a cool way of like like some of those like old blues songs. It's literally just one guy and a guitar, but like just
yeah.
the weight of what they're
The
expressing
the
is the
voice,
heaviness.
the voice as
You
well.
don't have to, yeah, you don't have to be a death metal band to be heavy, like
No, I mean, I don't
so.
know if
Yeah,
you ever heard about a musician called King Dude.
yeah.
I mean, it's just a blues man, but listen to
Yeah,
his,
pretty much.
read to his lyrics. That's like reading that metal, black metal bands.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
so that's the case, like you were saying, like country musician, blues musician, and but that's the darkness completely. That's
Yeah,
beautiful. That's
absolutely.
beautiful. That's but I
Yeah,
like what you said about being honest because I think really like I was saying, I really appreciate my English is going to lose their mind. Like how you guys are really so honest and open about that. And I really noticed that like I was saying, it comes from a lot from bands from Australia. There's kind of this openness being who you are. Like I don't want to say that the other country they don't, but I noticed that, and even from the people that I know, and it's something really refreshing in the music scene. But speaking about a little bit of music scene and touring, I don't want to say that if you have already planned some tour or something, because I think that if there's gonna be, other releases and something, of course, maybe in the future there will be as well the announcement of some tour. But until now, just let's say, for example, did you get some nice memory in touring? Like, I don't know, something that nice happened, something fun that happened while you were touring? Or if you went to
yeah,
some places that I don't know, you remember, oh, wow, that was an amazing, I don't know, shows, that was an amazing venue, was an amazing crowd, whatever.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like they're all. I mean, we love touring. That's like like our main thing, really. Like we try and play as much as we can, and we've toured Australia a lot, obviously,
Yeah, of course.
and that's always fun. We've made a lot of great mates around the country from doing that. Um, and but the thing is with Australia, and I don't want to sound negative. It's just such a big country, and there's just
Yeah.
not much in the middle of it. So you can't do like 30 shows like you can in Europe.
Yeah.
But we've been touring Australia for so long that like we've been so fortunate that we've got mates in amazing bands like in every city that we can
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
always hang out. Even if we're playing with them, like it's kind of become a rule for us. It's like if we're going to tour Australia, it's got to be with someone we're mates with. Because even if there's a show that's like a bit
Yeah.
shit for whatever, we're going to have a good time because we're with our mates, which is
Yeah.
awesome. So yeah, touring Australia versus touring Europe, it's very different though. And
Yeah.
touring Europe is sick. We've only done it once. We played there in 2018. It was really
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Because
And
it's tight.
yeah, it's great. I mean, we still managed to drive like an insane amount, but it was really fun. We made some really good mates there.
How many how many differences you see from because you like 2 hours a kind of highway, other 2 hours another type of highway, another type of landscape.
Yeah,
It's fucking confusing sometimes though. It's beautiful, but it's confusing sometimes.
yeah. Oh man, I mean, in Australia, it's like if you drive for 2 hours, like nothing will happen. Like,
But it's hard to
that's why it costs a lot of
find
money
places.
to come here.
I mean, maybe it's
Yeah, I mean,
because,
it's beautiful.
yeah. Maybe it's
It's
because I live in an
beautiful
island.
driving.
Imagine
Yeah,
Sicily. This is Sicily. Imagine Sicily as Tasmania, because that was the kind of comparison that I was doing with my friend. Because we have the similar, let's say the similar weather, of course, different nature, of course, and wildlife, but it's like that. We are an island detached from the mainland. So what we can do is stay there, and if we want to move, it's a problem. So imagine for the poor band that want to do a tour here. They don't have
well,
where to go. Yeah.
Yeah, like, do you know Psychroptic? They're from Tasmania.
So how
they're like
Psychroptic? Tell me again. I really I want to ask you this friend of mine about this band. It's called Psychroptic.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna ask about this band. Yeah.
They've been to Europe a million times. Like, we play with them heaps. We played with them in Tasmania once. It was amazing.
Yeah.
They're good mates of ours. But yeah, they've been doing it for a long time. But yeah, it's like, I mean, like, going to Europe from Australia is already like as far, like, you know, it's very far away. But Tasmania is just that little bit further.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of that. But it's a cool place as well. There's a lot of rave, I know, for sure.
Yeah. A really good time we had. Last time we went to Europe, we did some shows in Italy, and we played with this band called Vexavoid. Do you know those guys?
Sorry, connection wasn't good.
They're called Vexavoid. They're like kind of like technical death metal band from I think they were like around Milan kind of way. We did 3 shows with them. Like,
Italy. Yeah.
They were really, really cool guys. Yeah. That's the best thing about touring, meeting other bands that are just legends. And
beautiful.
Just,
yes, that's the beauty of it. And basically, what can we expect today from Flaming Wrekage is, of course, there's their single been released, so people can go and listen, watch the video, listen to the single, and of course, listen the previous album released, of course.
Yeah.
So, and expect new music in the future. Basically, we can.
Very soon, actually. Yeah.
Very soon.
Yeah.
Okay. So
we're gonna
they should be like signing, just joining on your social media for being updated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
On social media, we'll be announcing some stuff like within the next couple of weeks.
Okay. So soon. Okay.
Yeah. Very soon. Yeah. It's an exciting month. We got a big show tomorrow. We're playing with Catatonia tomorrow. Yeah, that'll be really cool.
You're playing Sydney or in another town?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
So yeah, it's a first show.
Good luck for tomorrow, and of course I will put all the links about social media, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, on YouTube, so people can go straight forward to check it.
Yep.
And what can I say? That we will catch up again soon. There will be, I don't know, tour dates announced, or I don't know, new music announced. I mean, and we're gonna make again like the comparison between that and the first EP. The lost EP, and one day you will see people asking you to release the first EP.
Yeah. Oh man, only in Europe people would care enough about that first thing.
But
that's why I love you. They're like such hardcore collectors of music and such hardcore metal fans. It's awesome, man.
Yeah, that's important to always remember. The beginning is always like the start of everything. What can I say, Dave? It was really a pleasure. Have a good evening, good night. Almost you're already in the next day. That's weird. You're already the next day, or
no yet.
It's 11:30.
No,
almost midnight.
Another 20 minutes.
Okay, so we are still on the same day. Okay, that's good. Okay, so there's no weird traveler connection. Like, oh, what's happening tomorrow, Dave? You already can't.
Yeah.
But
that's so good. Next time we'll get the time. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, have a good rest of the evening, and really, I'll just talk to you soon. It was really a pleasure meeting you, and enjoy the beautiful Australia.
Cool. Thank you. That's me.
Bye, Dave.
See you later.
Every night we walk through